It warms my heart to see these figures here. We could feel it coming. We could feel it coming in the other works with, I think, Uglato and Mutato Mutato. Anyways, welcome back, everyone. Artist Journal, April 24th, 2023, broadcasting to the world from the ship in my mind in Berlin, Germany, sporting a new haircut, which has been the object of much discussion here. My name is Adrian Pocobelli. Welcome back. And I think I did a search actually on faux hawk, and I actually think it's not that far from a faux hawk, but I'm ready to be proven wrong. And anyways, there's all sorts of fun. Shout out to everybody with the hilarious comments there on the weekend, and everyone. Welcome back, everyone. So it warms my heart again to see these yellow, Devo jumpsuits here and these great, upside down flower pots, I think they'd be called, that Devo used to wear as their helmets. This awesome work by Hasdrubal Waffle, again, just warms my heart. And interestingly, just on a technical front very quickly, from what we all gathered here on the Hasdrubal Waffle Artist Journal Spaces, from the Twitter Spaces that we did with Hasdrubal Waffle, he often almost sounds like he has several tabs open, and then he might layer after things in. So it looks to me, on a technical front, that you see at the bottom here, it's kind of like this noisy, almost you see the repetition here. So that's one program underneath, and then it seems like maybe Mario Paint or whatever the texture paint program, maybe KidPix, that Hasdrubal Waffle is using, I still need to open KidPix, is put on top. So again, just cool, adding interest and contrast and everything. And of course, that wonderful kind of gradient, warm gradients here, gradient of warm colors here around the side. Interestingly, so it's a bit of a play on Devo, Belle Biv Devo. And there you even see a little E that's been erased out. So one of those Easter eggs that Hasdrubal talks about. So let's see if there's Belle Biv DeVoe, and now you know. Probably a play on a Belle Biv DeVoe song, perhaps. I don't know really anything about Belle Biv DeVoe other than the name, but I know a lot about Devo, a huge Devo fan. And so anyways, I could feel this coming. So this is an edition of 5, and what happened to this? There was an auction for it and sold for, a steal really of 25 Tezos for this awesome Devo work here. And the other 4 were sent out. So interesting selling and kind of sharing dynamics, I guess, market dynamics from Hasdrubal as usual. There were these other 3 works here that previewed it. I'm not sure if we looked at one of them, but here's one, Changeo, Come Up the River Like a Meat Man. So again, I think we may have looked at this piece. It almost doesn't even matter. We can look at it again. What's interesting to me is when you see these this noise and these accidents, and this, you see a similarity with Uxine and just, it's just that looseness. And the looseness, and Hasdrubal was mentioning this in the Twitter Spaces, how much we all love the looseness and how he can spend like a super long time on a work, but then he does something really quick, and it's the stuff that he does really quick that people want to buy, that maybe has the most market attraction, or for lack of a better word. So that's what I see here. So again, it's embracing the looseness, embracing the noise, embracing the accidents and all that. So here's another one. This one's gorgeous. Oh no. So again, just super beautiful, super loose. Again, it's kind of that same noise that you're seeing here. And I've worked like that in the past, and it's a wonderful way to work digitally, just loose, and I'd call it painterly. And it's just, because the thing with digital is it's so precise that when you start working loose, again, it's almost a contrast unto itself, one could argue. And here, I think we saw one of these last time, because I remember the devolution tag, Uglato. I think we saw this one. So tomato devolution, so all sorts of stuff going on here. So we saw this one. It's fun to look again. And so anyways, super cool series here. I'm all over this series. Like, I love it. I can't believe I don't own any of it. And here it is. I had to show this because this is a work I did from 2017, just on the iPhone 6S, and I had to highlight the Devo character here. So I just had to do that. I mean, because it's just so funny. The very oldest Homo sapiens was what this Wall Street Journal article was about. So this is really old 2017 phone work, and we're going to see people are posting old work. I think that's a super cool trend, and I think I'm going to join the party here. I guess you might say I started right now. And people were asking about music as well. So we're talking about hair, we're talking about music. So I'm going to put the Lego mix. I haven't posted it yet, but I'll put it on my website right at the top as soon as I finish this program. And I'd put it underneath the link, but it's just a MP3 mix. There's lots of Devo on it, and people were wondering about music mixes. So anyways, I'll put the Lego mix up. That was made in 2007. I just listened to it. I actually love it. 2007, I think it was 2007. I was in Montreal. So anyways, the Lego mix, there are a few Devo tracks on there. And since I was in my folder looking at my old podcast covers, this is actually from 2000, if you can believe that. And this is basically my first mixtape cover, Music for Hyperspace. And if you're wondering why I have those icons beside my name, the wave, the beach and the palm tree and the UFO, well, kind of this is the source. It was kind of like aliens on the beach was the vision. And remember how I said I used to like to come up with the title first. So this was kind of one of those cases. Here it worked out a little easier. This is one of my very first kind of digital artworks. And I'm not sure if this is like a scan of a printed out version where I lost the original file, but anyways, it's all here. So all hilarious. And while we're on this, I mean, the significance of Devo, it can't be understated for people like myself and maybe Hasdrubal and many people out there. So like we mentioned research publications, we've mentioned William Burroughs and J.G. Ballard. A lot of people were introduced to these ideas by research publications here. And we've mentioned research before. Research pubs, I actually redid this. I made this logo. It's based on their old logo, but adding the .com and everything and the color there. And Vail loved it. So he's kept it I did that in, I think, 2007 again. And back to, this is kind of like the research mix here when you listen to it. So anyways, just a little bit of background. And research published Search and Destroy. And the reason I'm mentioning all this is because Vail, V. Vail, was the person behind Research Publications. He was a great grouper, where he kind of showed the connection between Devo, the band, and say the Dead Kennedys, and William Burroughs and J.G. Ballard, and he kind of saw it as kind of a intellectual punk, like it was punk, but he sort of showed the intellectual underpinnings of that whole movement. And this is, again, you have to imagine, this is before the internet. So he put out a tabloid, Search and Destroy, which was super cool. And and you see these it's just super cool. So Devo was in here and everything. There's one with William Burroughs, and you see J.G. Ballard. So these came out in the late 70s, early 80s maybe, but I think it was like late 70s. And again, Vail started Search and Destroy, this tabloid here. This is pretty much maybe close to all of them. There's maybe 12 or 13. And he started this tabloid on $100 given to him by Allen Ginsberg when Vail was working at City Lights bookstore. So a little history here, because Devo brings that out, and so old mixes and everything. So I'll post that on my website for anybody that wants to listen. Just go to the homepage and you'll have the first post. Will be the Lego mix, should you be interested. Because there was interest. There's Jello Biafra. So very cool. I think you can still buy these. $30. I mean, it's actually a pretty good deal. See, there's the Atrocity Exhibition. This is actually the best version of the Atrocity Exhibition, if you're looking, because it's the annotated version that Vail convinced Ballard it's released under Research Publications. And so it's new revised edition is what you see there. And so Ballard added footnotes because it was such a cryptic work, and the footnotes are some of the greatest ideas you're going to come across. So anyways, good job, Hasdrubal, to bring out the Devo and to highlight Devo. That's just too much fun and too cool. Always delivering there. So anyways, thank you for the comments, everyone. Human Boy Flora and DJ Kiro and Retro Manny. And it was a Novation launch station or launch key. It was a Novation keyboard. Yes, a Novation launch key 49 to be exact. Looking forward to the drop next week. Thanks for the mention. So my pleasure. Thank you everybody for the comments. And yeah, it's just awesome. It was a very fun Friday there after the haircut. And also coming up on Tuesday, Retro Manny is going to have this super cool Cyberpixel anniversary collection. And there's all these cool artists like Mech.txt, Brave, a lot of 186 pixels light, Tom Bombadilus, R-Milks, Stalomir, and more. So I'm going to co-host that over here, a special space co-hosted by me and I believe Retro Manny. So anyways, that's happening. So check that out on Retro Manny's feed. We've been discussing, remember, A Portrait of the Future, right? This idea that one of those popular Twitter AI feeds was bringing up, of this idea that you can start to use AI within the layers, how that's going to get integrated into Photoshop. And I'm not sure if someone sent me a message or if someone else told me, but Adobe has already started on the AI train, and I didn't even know that. So Adobe Firefly is the name, and check this out. Like, it's kind of like what we were discussing here. Generative AI made for creators, and you can sort of see, you can start to replace stuff. So here they select the lighthouse, and generating variations, and then you get different kinds of lighthouses you can put in there. So you're starting to see another just window on the future here. The water, okay, look, we want to generate the water underneath to expand the image. So AI is really coming hard and fast, I think, is the the takeaway here. And you're starting to see, look at this, and then you can just expand the canvas. So, and even some of these upscaler tools that, big shout out to Evelyn O, who sent me a link to some upscaling tools. I mean, it's incredible how you can make an image bigger now. I had some stuff, but it wasn't nearly as good as some of the stuff out there for free on the internet. So anyways, there's a visual for what we were discussing here. And look how text and image are really getting mixed here in different ways. Astounding video edits simplified. So this is video, it's coming for video. So anyways, I just wanted to highlight that because we were discussing it. It's already like a product. I don't know if that's out or what, but Adobe Firefly, this is a beta version. You can use everyday language to generate extraordinary new content. Looking forward, Firefly has the potential to do much, much more. Explore the possibilities below. So they're just getting started. They probably had to rush this out. But you see, right? I mean, so just like Google now has to rush their AI out, Adobe wants Midjourney, because these guys could all be left behind. Because again, don't forget, and then we'll move on here, don't forget Midjourney is creating drawing tools. Right? So this is a threat to Adobe if they don't start having their own AI solutions, because everybody, or a lot of it, especially designers, their bread and butter, their corporate clients, right? These agencies, they're going to want AI because that's the fastest way to work. Okay, so anyways, pretty fascinating stuff, what we're working on. So continuing on, so just the market. I mean, the market does continue to be interesting with NFTs. I mean, maybe we should even look at a couple of NFT projects, see how they're doing on OpenSea. Let's read a couple of comments first. Dan Control, PFPs are dead, not the art. And I say this from someone who has recently embarked, and maybe it doesn't matter that much, but the search for expression and communication of each of us, I think, holds all of this together. It's not that if someone doesn't make as much money as before that then everything collapses. On the contrary, art. Yeah, spoken as a true artist. It's, again, I always kind of bring it back to the Berlin art scene here. Many people, I'd say the great majority, have not made sales in a year or more, or in some cases ever. Okay, so here you can still make sales. Maybe you have to lower your prices, but stuff is still selling. Okay, and maybe, I mean, if Dan were to put stuff for a Tezos, and he doesn't need to, but if he were, he wouldn't. He could still make money, and that's still better than, good, decent times in the Berlin art scene. So, exactly, like, and those people aren't complaining. Those people are still here. They're lifers, a lot of them. Sky Goodman, another comment on this. Feel this referring to the NFT market. Feel this sentiment completely. That's why artists who have been working before bubbles, during and after are still here working, creating. Exactly. Like if you're a driven artist, like the money is truly secondary because all bubbles burst and no one thing is the thing that changes everything. It's a lot of little things and putting the work in every day. And Unknown Collector has a couple of comments here that I also want to highlight because it kind of captures the spirit of now in this scene as well. GM friends, Unknown Collector, if you feel demotivated from missing sales, that's totally normal. But is it a reason to leave completely? Take the easy way out? No, for me not. Just take a long break, reevaluate your timeline, your expectations, how you want to approach this journey. If you want to leave completely forever, you are here for the wrong unrealistic reasons and expectations anyway most of the time. Even if you have enough from Twitter promoting and all the BS, NFTs are the way to prove provenance of digital assets. They are the future, not just for art. If you're tired of everything, just mint them at least on Tezos, even for free, to have the provenance of your art in case one day you need it. What is your opinion about it? So exactly. Just the market is secondary. I mean, the important thing, a lot of the artists, like Hasdrubal, has been doing well in the last few months, but it's not like Hasdrubal was drowning in money, from what I could tell, a year ago. But you keep doing it, right? And like, if you're driven, you're not going to stop, right? One more follow-up here. So after that post, I felt such a positive vibe and somehow still motivated community of artists that it makes me happy. It's not normal for me to feel down now, but art lives forever on the blockchain. All these PFP projects will be forgotten, but your art will always inspire someone somewhere. That's a good thing about art. It can't go to zero because it's priceless in a way. And that's another thing. Like, and Hasdrubal, again, to go back to what he was saying on the Twitter Spaces, he had a really fascinating take on collecting. And he was saying, I think there's going to be a payoff for collectors at some point. And I kind of agree. I think his instincts are right on that. So anyways, someone's going to want to collect this stuff. And yeah, so it may be volatile. Crypto, you're rich 1 month and 2 months later, you're not rich. Let's talk in 2 months. Maybe we're all super poor or maybe we're rich again. So it's just the nature of the beast. Let's quickly look at OpenSea. Let's just look at Doodles, which is kind of a popular PFP, which really dropped. 2.5 ETH, it was down at 2.16, but it was at like 10 or I think 16 at one point, if I'm not mistaken. Moonbirds was another one that was at like super expensive. So these have kind of come up a little bit. Like they're kind of bouncing off the bottom a little bit, but it could be a dead cat bounce too. So anyways, and as we saw in an earlier tweet from, I think it was Grant Riven Yoon, the argument was being made in this chart that he was showing that PFPs are kind of at the top of the funnel here, and then it goes into generative art, and then it goes into one-of-one, NFT art, kind of our bread and butter here, or just NFT art. So if these things start to go down, that might be, so sales could be impacted pretty hard. So it might not be about your art. So that is interesting. Now, I'm really liking this trend, and I think I might join it. Rosatio, good morning. Kind of missed in real life exhibitions. This one is from 2014, Bandung, New Emergence Volume 5 at Salazar's Scenario Art Space. Yes, I've been doing this for that long. And that's what's kind of great. Like many artists, and these are the people who are probably have been around for a long time, and these are probably the same people who are not going away, because, for various reasons, there's the blockchain. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So look at Rosatio. There's the blockchain where it's kind of provenance, and it's still, despite all, in the worst of markets, let's say, it's still pretty good. when you look at where are you going to go, are you going to go from gallery to gallery, hoping that one day you'll show your work like many in the Berlin art scene do? You can do that for years, with zero results. So, and I know people, I've practically lived that. Here's another one from 2020, Lucifuge. GM, have a wonderful Friday. I created this drawing in 2020. It was the beginning of a series of paintings and drawings called benzodiazepines, inspired in sleep paralysis, lucid dreams, and madness. So this is 1 meter by 0.7 meters. So again, you see Lucifuge has been doing it a while. Like these people, I don't think are going away, just with, quote unquote bad market. So pretty cool work, by the way. So again, just adds credibility too when you see, okay, because that's something that collectors, if they are looking at art as an investment, and we all kind of partially do, but some more than others. And if you're spending like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a work, you want to know that the artist is committed, right? And that it's not just some one-off and then they decide not to be an artist and then all of a sudden your thing might not be worth the same. So all this stuff helps build credibility. And here's Uxine. No new ideas, Friday, October 17th, 2014. So I think this is old work from 2014. And just, and Uxine did a lot of zines. I think Uk means three in Turkish. So three-zine or something like that. So again, you can see just collecting ideas from the looks of it, printed out ideas. No new ideas. So this looks like it's from 2014. Okay, so that's cool. So traveling through the mediums here, we have more woven work by Kristen Roos, the awesome abstract artist on object and on, I believe, on foundation, maybe super rare too. Really interesting artist, retro tools, vintage software, as Kristen calls it. New weaving mounted and framed recently, so was doing a lot of weaving of some of the works. And I'm a huge fan, like I consider this like an iteration, because this is probably based on a digital work, right? And so this is an iteration, but now it's a completely different work of art if this was some animated thing that he made in deluxe paint. So I'm a huge fan of this, and I do it myself. And I think this is a wonderful way of going physical, of not just trying to necessarily capture the exact replica, but play with, okay, I'm going to go with knitting or with some sort of weaving in order to create a work that is an iteration or an extension of this original idea to create a whole other new work. And I just think that's super interesting, and it's a very exciting way to work. Here's some more animated abstract. This is from Cream Safa. This could actually hang well with Kristen Roos. This sold for 2 ETH on manifest.xyz, which is pretty cool. Let's see if we can get rid of that. There we go. So there's music and everything. Let me turn this up. Of course, we saw Kareem Safa with the Pixel Art Factory, Factory of Nothing, maybe? So anyways, super cool. Cosmos, and there's a really cool, check this out. Speaking of traveling through the mediums here, check this out. I turned off the music, but you can see this kind of looks like a virtual space, but it's not actually clear to me. It's almost like, so this is almost like an ad, and it almost looks like Pong or something, like a real life Pong. So anyways, cool ad. It seems, it probably doesn't hurt to have that sort of stuff or presentation of the artwork. So what does it say here? Cosmos auction will be concluded in less than 7 hours. This audio-visual piece is curated by Dalbin Paris, so maybe they made this, and is also available on their custom-designed Dalbin tables. Wow, that is pretty cool. See it in action in the trailer, so this is for real. It's available so you're getting digital tables. Remember we were talking about the walls going digital? To me, this is a step towards that, isn't it? I mean, you start with the table, maybe you start with something smaller. This is going to happen with the walls at some point here. Here's more interesting stuff. Spiegelmaschinen. So I saw this. I didn't know what it was. He was connecting stuff and everything, but it looks like a screen is what turned up here. So that is pretty cool. Success. And it looks like he managed to hook his Mac up to this, hardware here. And now he has this kind of cool light bright type screen here. So anyways, that is pretty cool. Rat Cloak. So nice to see from Rat Cloak with kind of a dark work here. Winter Will Never End. And this is still at auction. It's at 66. And just a simple dark work. Kind of looks like a self-portrait. It looks like the guy in St. Christopher, which I think also was a self-portrait. So anyways, of course, Rat Cloak is in Ukraine. So it adds a whole other dimension to this. Winter will never end. Summer will never come. We'll warm up in hell. So interesting, powerful work. Let's just zoom in on it. And you can see it was sent out to a few people here. Maybe previous collectors of another work, and then one is going for auction, and it's currently 66 Tezos to Purple Drank. So we'll see what happens here. Let's just zoom in here, because oftentimes we can tell the program by zooming in. This one, it's a little harder. It looks like maybe Microsoft Paint, though, because of the kind of dithering, pixelation, maybe not dithering, but pixelation in the brush stroke there. And then, of course, this is a video, though. I don't know if Rat Cloak has ever done a video before. So anyways, very interesting. Kind of keeping with the fire theme. Big shout out to Rat Cloak, by the way. Sunday service, Ed Marola. So anyways, Ed Marola, I think, is kind of hitting it out of the park right now. I think he's hit his groove. The Metallica thing seemed to kind of get him on a whole new level. And all that preparation, all that work seems to really be paying off. And he's got all his tropes and everything. It's all starting to combine into these really, what I want to call beautiful canvases. And these kind of mysterious works. I mean, it kind of looks like a portrait of the Inferno with this almost like this pope, this anti-pope, kind of a surrealist idea on its throne. And it kind of looks like, an anti-pope in hell. What's it called? Sunday service. We might not be that far, and kind of interesting skeletons here and everything. And look, I mean, 0.25 ETH, someone just made an offer. It was listed at 0.15. Someone doesn't want to do the auction because check this out. This one went for 0.4, which Ed was tweeting was a new all-time high. So things are going very well for Ed Marola. So again, it's kind of like you can't let your individual story don't get down on the general markets, because there's going to be individuals. It's sort of like the equivalent of, it's kind of an excuse. If you're, say, an entrepreneur and then you're building a business and then you go, oh, well, it's a bad economy, so therefore my business is not going to do well. And that may be partially true. But at the end of the day, all sorts of great businesses are born at terrible times in the economy. And so to me, this is just kind of inspiration for anybody that might be down on the market. Look, Ed's hitting all-time highs, gained 0.4 ETH for his work. So that is pretty awesome and a pretty cool work. Again, using a lot of his trademark, dragged brushes here, sampled brushes, the texture, the moving kind of canvas here in different ways. Here it moves a little bit to the left and right. This house on fire, the mysterious iconography, almost like the hell and the skeletons and everything. Hellscape. So hell is the order of the day. And look, as Ed was mentioning, a bit of a bidding war. And I think this might be the same account that made the 0.25 offer. Let's just take a quick look here. I think it is. So, Ed, and that's all you need is two collectors, right? Is two collectors who really got to have your work, and life is good. So that's not impossible. Matthias La Plata, finally Friday. It was a wonderful Friday out. I walked back from the haircut place, and there was a cool American pizza place, they called it. And I had a taco pizza and walked back in the sun. It was glorious, kind of took it easy. Finally Friday today, and I take the devil for a walk. So more kind of devil theme. This time's from Matthias La Plata. and on Procreate here, and a couple of clowns. Very nicely done. And this is something I saw on Twitter, just someone I hadn't seen before, Bert1, Psychedelic Pop and Folk Surrealism, or someone I hadn't seen for a while, on Super Rare. Interestingly, let's see if we can actually bring up the Super Rare really quickly. I'm doing way less tabs now, so hopefully that will speed the show up, because I think it's actually important to keep this to half an hour. And we're already at half an hour. That's hilarious. Well, we're moving in that direction, doing way less tabs. Anyway, this is a beautiful work. How has half an hour passed already? That's what I want to know. And probably talking about Devo, though, which is well worth it. So anyways, look at how cool this is. Bert1. So let's just take a quick look. And yeah, so this sold for 3.4 ETH. This is the kind of work that, people are willing to spend a lot of money. Look at that. 6.8 ETH. This sold for $20,000. My, oh my. And that was March 13th, 2022. So that was a year ago in the heart of the bear market. I mean, we're still in a bear market, but it's kind of back to the point. Don't let a bad market, fool you. All sorts of good things can happen. Don't act like it's all over here. This person sold for 6.8 ETH, $12,500 a year ago. Okay. Dan Control. With some really cool chairs here. This is a one of one, by the way, for all the collectors out here. This is my favorite. He released 4 chairs. So Dan, who we were hearing from earlier in the program there, and this is my favorite one. And this is classic as well, where, again, we see this consistency where Dan likes to play with the border and go, okay, because there's this question, this arbitrary question, in a sense, or a question. The question you can ask yourself as an artist when you're making a composition, say of a chair, and you go, well, how much margin? And what I love is, should I put around the chair? And generally we put some sort of padding so it breathes a little bit. And what I love about this is Dan has distilled that question as an artist to me to its most rational answer, which is we go straight to the edge. And then making that kind of a trope of his, just like Ed has his things. Now you start to see Dan, the conceptual style of these artists, okay? And you're going to see it again here. This is my favorite one, the color and everything. It's a beautiful rendition, too, of this office chair, trapped office. So here is another one. And again, trapped, probably referring to how these go straight to the margin here. Also for 80 Tezos. A one of one. So there are a few of them here. So here is a wood chair, and they're fairly common chairs that most of us would recognize. Again, kind of back to this, furniture of what I'm tempted to call furniture of the mind, or we saw it with Spogels Maskinen and with John Kernel, these familiar objects that we're all familiar with, and that kind of harkens back to the surrealists. Before the mass media was a big thing, in the 20s and 30s, it was about the common objects of everyday life, what's sometimes called the furniture of the mind. And here we're kind of seeing that because we all know this chair for the most part. So here's another one, another interesting, and this edge here is hilarious, right? So I love this kind of this conceptual solution to the border here, all with keeping with his style of the gradient style. Here's another one. This looks like a school chair that many of us might be familiar with. School, right? So, and nice compositions too. Like it's not like a straight on shot, like it's a very nice, sort of 3/4 shot profile of this chair. Nice color too, and everything. Well done gradients. So all available for 80 Tezos. I mean, if I was like enterprising digital or enterprising museum that was trying to get into NFTs, I'd just buy the whole series, right? So another gorgeous work by Manidal called The Star. And this is just another cat tarot card, the instant classic in my mind here, and nice little animation with the star in the background, the wonderfully beautiful bright light colors and the star. So kind of looks like, reminds me of Aquarius here. Let's just see, 17th tarot card represents hope, rejuvenation, and a fresh star, indicating that you may feel content with your mental recuperation and experience an improved frame of mind. It can be compared to taking care of one's own emotions and sentiments, like a young woman bringing water to a pool. She's also added water to the earth, which represents material and outside things to revive it. Hand pixelated and animated, tiny, and then multiplied by 10. 121 by 170 multiplied by 10. So beautiful work from Manadol. Here's another one. And we were watching the work in progress. I love the Polaroid. I'm kind of back to these margins. This margin adds a lot to me for some reason. And you even see a light. I don't know if you can see that. There's a light gradient on the white here, interestingly. I love the Polaroid kind of composition, and then you have this nice classical composition. So this is going to be on Exchange Art tomorrow, on Tuesday, April 25th, for 1 sol. And yeah, so anyways, cool work from Manadol. And here's a work in progress from Manadol. Or sorry, Miyagi. This is someone else. So that is Manadol, beautiful work. And this is Miyagi working on some pixel art. So I thought I'd throw this in. Work in progress, 50%. Remaining decoration and animation. So here is another pixel artist that loves cats. And here's mech.txt with just more pixel art. And mech.txt, of course, is going to be at that Retro Manny talk on Tuesday, which I will be co-hosting. So that'll be fun. Mech.txt sounds great on the radio out of Indonesia. So we have some works here. Hypno card. And then here, Cosmic Laundry, which is pretty hilarious, and just beautiful colors, actually, of what seems like a laundry line here in mech.txt's trademark style. And here is, I think, a piece of a landscape, practice piece for something. So just a beautiful color, 2-color river with tons of dithering, which looks so great when you make it large like this. And here's some even larger dithering from mech.txt, the flying green, so referencing the Pepe token, which has made a lot of people a lot of money. And so that is pretty cool, mech.txt. And let me just look at, so this was sent out to a few people. And so just taking offers right now. I'm not sure what's going on. You'll have to go to the Twitter feed if you want a copy. Pretty cool. That looks like a Twitter logo on there with the Pepe the Frog and a chart in the background. And we saw this the other day, but we didn't see it large. We just saw a small version on Twitter, I believe. So anyways, I'm pretty sure. Maybe we were looking at the cave. So maybe I just liked this piece so much I wanted to show it again here. So anyways, again, using the marquee tool, the selection tool, is how Lorna Mills makes these, I think. So 1 of 1 for 600. I think we've already seen that. This was interesting. Lorna Mills posted this artist that I hadn't seen before, Flint Pope. And we can look at Flint's page here. This is a 1 of 1. Interesting title, Paolozzi Factory. So Eduardo Paolozzi is pretty well known. I don't know if you'd call him a pop artist. I think so. He was actually good friends with J.G. Ballard. I've seen a good Paolozzi show here at a museum here in Berlin. I want to call it like the Berlinischer Gallery, I think it's called. Anyways, has some cool kind of glitch generative art thing going on here. So interesting artist highlighted by Lorna Mills. So I thought I'd show it. Thought that looked pretty good. Let's just see what happened on the market here. 5 Tezos. So you are early if you're buying Flint Pope's work, edition of 1, and here it is. So yeah, edition of 5 for 1 Tezos. So here is an artist that is largely probably undiscovered. Brillo Pad salesperson level 2. And so anyways, so there is some new sort of animated abstract generative artwork for you. And here's another one from Renki, also a recent discovery, Kurume. And so anyway, just more interesting animated abstract art. Kind of, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here, but it kind of drags and leaves its trail a little bit. Kind of reminds me of the delay tool a little bit, or these sampled brushes. This looks like almost like live action of those, where you take a sample of a piece of, of a digital canvas and then you drag it and you start getting repetitions or something. Anyways, Renki with cool work. Somfe with another work, Wayfair. This one is new. This is a 1 of 1, released April 20th. I don't think we looked at this one. Anyway, it sold for 70. So cool work from Somfe. And continuing on, this is also a really cool work by Augers with some nice sound. Let me bring this up here. Really moody, atmospheric piece here. So it's almost like a beach. Let me restart this. There we go. I really like this piece. It's just very moody and atmospheric. So you get the picture. It's people throwing a ball around on a beach or kicking a ball around. So just kind of moody and nice. I see I'm going to have to put more effort at making these shorter. Going to need even less work. And here's Feels with a cool work. Again, getting massive amounts of views, 77,000 views for Feels, just cool work posted on Twitter. This, I think, was burned or something. Test05 from, I thought these were gorgeous. I saw a few of these from MCHX. Look at these beautiful, beautiful animated abstract works. I think they were burned. We'll take a look here in a second, but look at this. And of course, we remember some slightly Rothko, inspired works before, but this is like totally different. And look at that. I mean, just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So let's just see. I think, yeah, burned. So anyway, cool. Test05 looks great. MCHX, if you happen to be watching this. Polygon 1993 with a really cool, I think this is like a Mario. So that is pretty cool. And even this EXT3 and all that sort of stuff. I'm not sure where that's available. Phantasm.world for prints. So I'm not sure if this is an NFT artist or not, but pretty rad, if you ask me. And here's one from Kuro, I believe, or eBoy, created by eBoy, and split with, so I think Kuro put together the show. This is part of Friendly Integration by Kuro. So this is another work from Kuro's show. So a pretty cool, kind of reminiscent of that Mario we were just looking at, kind of big pixels, kind of looking like on an old screen, this sort of thing, kind of the glitch analog video situation. Cool work, and it's called Spider El Akiro. So maybe a reference and homage to Kuro. Very nice piece by Françoise Gamma MCAP. Just a very nice piece, and Françoise Gamma is putting out a ton of work. I think old and new. So anyways, a really cool piece here. Continuing on, another piece by Tegenhoff. This is going for a Tezos, and it's an edition of 12. And we got more clues, actually, or maybe I missed it last time, but this uses AI that is edited. So this is a really interesting solution. Again, it's sort of like, to me, this is kind of one of the big promises of AI art. It's really edited AI art, which we see with Yoain, and then using it and then adding to it, right? So raw AI, I think, is rad and amazing, but also this editing AI generated images and edited and animated almost in like kind of reminiscent of Cap'n a little bit here. So these are beautiful works, super interesting. The colors are great. One went to Ilay here. So really cool work from Tegenhoff. Ilay was some really cool AI work, AI and digital painting as well. So again, these look like somewhat influenced by, like when you put in AI, when you put pixelated, when you try and get pixel art out of AI, it's reminiscent of that, but then it sounds like there's also some editing going on here. So I wasn't sure exactly how at first, but then I saw another one, and to me, this looks like Pixelmator brush strokes here, that beautiful square brush that's so easy to use in Pixelmator. This kind of reminds me of that. So another cool work and a cool contrast with this painterly background here and what looks like painting on top, AI and digital painting. And so if we go back here, then I start to go, oh, maybe some of the banana, maybe these are square brush that was put on top in some areas. Really nice work from Ilay. Mech.txt picked one up, so that is great. So you see the community here, for those that are new. A lot of these people kind of know each other online, which is super cool, and collect from each other. The Magician, and you see how small it is. So this is a collaboration between Lily Illo and Ben Canizet. So yes, immediately recognizable as Lily Illo style, but then maybe the animation is by Ben Canizet. So blends art and technology to create a dynamic and enchanting experience. So anyways, The Magician, cool subject too, and that's interesting. Oh, I may have missed the whole piece. Wow. I didn't even know you could do that. It's magic. It's magic. Wow. That's really cool. Super cool. Soon. Headquarters number 5. So the home office, a wonderful subject. Here's another one, number 5, in this beautiful, kind of beautifully painterly effect. I believe it's sort of says DAL-E to me in these beautiful textures here, gorgeous textures. And look at that. You can just kind of stare at this forever, these background. Von Doyle, this seems to be AI, right? I bring the music in and out just for copyright reasons. Pretty wild, if you ask me. So anyway, just interesting, kind of dizzying, overthinking everything, good title. And we're almost done here. This is Don't Be So Vasya, with a really cool work GM and just really nice textures. And again, I think we're dealing with AI and maybe a little bit of digital painting. But again, the AI painting is looking more and more convincing, this sense of texture, this spray, the brushwork. It's all way more persuasive than it seemed to have been even like a few months ago. So anyways, more, I believe this is generally raw AI, an assortment of AI concept footwear from the files from Strange Thing. And this is the amazing thing about AI is you can be so prolific. Like in Strange Thing, must be putting out like 100 images a day, you know, like is sort of the impression. And just all this really great stuff. So beautiful concept wear. I love this Nike logo here. I mean, there's so much going on. Here, great grip. And here, I mean, so anyways, keeping it interesting and beautiful. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shoes. You even see the shell. Anyways, very cool from Strange Thing. Really interesting series finally from Sabato. This Autotopia series, kind of a very surreal artwork. And he has a little explanation here. There are some fresh mints coming from Autotopia, my series of AI photographs documenting the singularity of human and car personhood as dramology, I don't know that word, and alchemical attempts at forging a capybara Ferrari. Okay, same deal as before, 404 editions, top 3 offers accepted, 11 Tez minimum. So here are some of them. So pretty wild, unusual series here. This looks like an auto factory, car repair sort of thing. And here's another one, Glory on the Boulevard. And let's just see. And yeah, waiting for offers there. So anyways, looks like LA. And again, playing with almost the religious imagery, the wings and the car. Very interesting fusion. This is, I believe, not a number. Exactly, NAN, devs. So also playing with AI here, seemingly. So interesting work here with this reflection in the water, and also had a different version here. A little bit stronger contrast here. And fixed it, white balance. I kind of like the first one slightly better, just in terms of light. I don't mind this kind of soft light here. But, you know, you could go either way. Maybe it depends on your mood. This was interesting too. Skirbo, who I'm not sure I've ever heard of before. Give them a follow. They're on Super Rare. So anyways, interesting kind of piece here, isn't it? So it looks like using some sort of pixelation as a mask. Anyway, creating very odd object here, but very cool is what I'd say. This kind of crazy contorted body here. And into the physical we go. We are the last witnesses of time. A cool work by Demon Ego from the sketchbook here. But again, remember with Demon Ego, all this stuff on the edge, it's a new work for Demon Ego. The shadow of the page kind of in the middle here and everything. So anyways, beautiful work from Demon Ego. And let's just see, 5 Tezos. There are 7 left. And some more work by Gloomtube, so which is kind of exciting. I want to see this. It's looking better and better. It doesn't take long. This almost reminds me of the O.J. Simpson chasing the white Ford Bronco. And then here, this looks like maybe Waco on fire. So maybe he's taking these famous media images as a subject, a few paintings together at GloomTube's Instagram, and some more just kind of experimentation. So GloomTube is going for it, practicing doodles. And here's Uxine with a cool screen print with a stretched out profile picture. So anyways, that's looking really cool. And it looks like it's on top of some sort of canvas here. So that's kind of interesting as well. And also Flora with almost like a hand drawing, almost charcoal looking, on real lined paper here that is animated. So also interesting. And again, Flora is going to be on the Twitter Spaces on Wednesday. So if you're a fan, do check that out. I'll put out the tweet later today or tomorrow morning before the show. So anyways, awesome work from Flora. And finally, Mark Belden, who we've looked at a lot of his work. Here's another one, just beautiful half-finished flowers with gorgeous colors, beautiful textures, so simple. Room gouache on St. Armand paper. So you see the importance of materials here. To me, this is all about the materials and the gorgeous color and the gorgeous composition. Really cool artist here. So one more Joao Salazar modeling painting. So more kind of insight into how Joao is working here. So adding texture here. Not just, so using plasticine to create these super kind of witty works that are so interesting and often about technology. So using Play-Doh is just a really interesting contrast. And that is your show, my friends. Thank you for joining me once again. Until next time, take care.